The Chaos Cubed update is right around the corner, and with it brings a ton of new blocks and geysers. So in this video, I'll cover 15 ideas on how to build with them. Without further ado, let's investigate how to do just that. First, we need to learn how to use a geyser in the first place. Simply, magma plus potent sulfur plus water. You can substitute the magma with lava for a continuous, quieter stream, and this is helpful for movement applications as well. You can also add more water to get larger and larger amounts of steam, and you can see here, this can get quite tall. The geyser cannot hurt you, but the ensuing fall from it can, so you have to be decently careful. But this makes it really good for elytras and general upward mobility. So let's begin. If you're building with copper, you'll love this one. Pretty much all you need is some basic copper piping. You can build it pretty simply with just cut copper and maybe some chiseled stuff. But anyways, go onto certain parts and you can drill down and add a simple geyser to it, specifically the magma variation. The reason being is because we don't want this to be constant usually, but you can make it so. Then you can see the pipe is just going to sit here and eventually it is going to erupt, as if too much steam got locked in and now it has to jet out, which is a very steampunk thing to do. So you can see here, did precisely that, and depending on the time you place the actual sulfur is when the geysers will erupt, so you can potentially even pattern it. So that's a pretty nice little thing you can do to your copper. Say you happen to like building trains, because that's a thing people usually do. So right here, I have a pretty rudimentary train model, and we should have a chimney on it, pretty much just to get rid of the exhaust. However, this can get a little bit weird. You just have a campfire, and that's not really what we really want. Instead, now, because of Chaos Cubed, we can add a proper geyser to it. Of course, make sure you have suitable blocks surrounding it, but right here, adding some shelves and trapdoors, we can modify this in order to turn it into an actual proper exhaust. That way, it's less constant smoke and more a jet of steam, like it is in real life. So, all that coming together, hooray, we have ourselves a pretty efficient train. While many of these are for decorative applications, technically we should all be building on a cobblestone. Right here, let's have something a bit more functional. All these lava-powered top-tier geysers, it's 3 of them, can be used for elytra gliding. As you can see here, without any additional fireworks or anything of the sort, we can actually fly through and launch ourselves. You can use this for vents in the ground, maybe you can put this at the top of a volcano that's about to erupt, something like that. You can save yourself a lot of firework rockets if you place these around the world. You might even be able to skip having that gunpowder farm if you have enough of these around the areas you frequent. Now for something a bit more organic. Right here we have a small whale, and it's a pretty simple build. You can pause to take a look at the exact specifications. The bottom is covered in pale trapdoors though, and right here we have its blowhole. So you can see here, given enough time, it will jet out a geyser, or in this case just water if you make believe, just like a real whale. So you can see here, it is generally fish shaped. You can do this for orcas or any other large marine mammal. So that way, it actually looks like it's alive. Now, back to the functional. Right here, we have ourselves a predicament. I want to get to a higher floor, but I don't want to use stairs, because I've built way too many spiral staircases. So, let's be smart about this. Right here, we have a pulse extender, made of comparators, and some redstone that goes under. We're going to be using these geysers in order to create ourselves an elevator. So, this idea is pretty simple. We're going to have a repeater to power up the signal, and then we're going to have some pulse extenders in order to power a piston, which is being inverted by a redstone torch. So you can see right here, redstone torch making the piston go out. And this will split water in half. When this piston retracts, it will make a new water source, which will enable this column here. Of course, make sure it is 2 or 3 high, depending on the height of your wall. And then, with a little bit of modification I'll do off camera to make it more functional, we can do it like this. So, all the way to the top with 3 high, and you can see that's going to yield a little bit of fall damage. So be careful about the exact height you choose. But now, with it fully fixed, we have ourselves a proper jet elevator. Without the geysers, sulfur is actually really useful for sandstone gradients. You can see here, it is very similar to stripped birch. So oak, sulfur, birch planks to sandstone is a perfect gradient. Use this for your desert and Mediterranean builds. Speaking of desert builds, right here we have ourselves a little bit of an oasis of sorts. You can line the edges with potent sulfur, but the important thing is normal sulfur underwater actually looks really good as wet sand because it's a bit darker, a bit more coarse, so be sure to utilize that because of its neutral earthy color. The other block in the sulfur caves actually has its own use cases outside of its intended use. So, a little bit macabre, but you can actually use cinnabar as a form of meat. You can see right here, works really well and even looks like it. A bit unrefined. Use this for any meat related things you have, or potentially the inside of a giant machine. It also can be substituted with stripped mangrove logs, but still, this works really well for flesh-based builds, like big monsters. Because of cinnabar's more rustic, reddish color, you'll find that it actually has a very good synergy with granite, which works very well for worn-down old buildings. You can see right here. You can also combine their polished variations in order to get yourself another reddish thing. So you can see right here, a lot of use cases, and you should definitely try using the two together. Sulfur has some other synergies, but still. Cinnabar works very well with granite and also diorite. Not so much with andesite though, to my knowledge. But still, you have almost red concrete as a more valid polished block with a real texture. So, hooray on that. Now, let's hop dimensions. Right here, we can see that sulfur works surprisingly well with the end palette, being almost like a gold brick oversaturated version. You can see that sulfur normal version works very well with endstone as a darker version. Potentially, it works well as a shadow or for under islands, so be sure to utilize it. Because sulfur works well with the end, it's only logical that cinnabar would work with the nether. So you can see here, we have a very nice Persian rug utilizing cinnabar and some nether blocks. And you can see how it works very well with that nice desaturated but still somewhat vibrant red. Be sure to utilize these in any form of nether build, because they are pretty much netherrack bricks, if you get what I mean, versus nether bricks, which is something completely different. So be sure to utilize this and the leaf litter at the edges. Now let's learn about some of the synergy they have. Diorite, granite, and mangrove work well with cinnabar, and of course the two blocks work decently well with each other. Sulfur works well with bamboo, sandstone, and deep slate, although both of them work well with deep slate. In fact, most blocks just work well with deep slate. Either way, they're both very good. As I just said, deep slate and these blocks work really well together. So let's have a little example of a small base you can build. Using predominantly deep slate and some carvings into the walls, you can see how you have that nice yellow, or you can do red, both of them quite ominous. Inside this little modern office themed area, we can actually set up something quite hilarious, with a fence post well above the ceiling, and then giving a sulfur cube any sort of block, preferably something decently heavy. We now have a punching bag. Be sure to not, hit it with fire aspect, but still, this guy can even take full power blows from the mace. And of course, his distance will be manipulated by the damage you deal. So you can see here, much more violent stuff going on when you use a sword. For our last one, we can see how both of these blocks work very well for the Art Deco aesthetic. I was building a hotel and then realized that because I'm using sandstone and a lot of these azalea type blocks, well, it would be best to wait until the update comes out, because you can see here, they just work really well together. So be sure to keep this in mind if you do any similar builds. But with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw